In this episode, I visit the Book of Kells experience at Trinity College.
It's me, the travel bee. Let's go. Okay, so this is the entrance as you walk into the exhibit hall. And as you go around, of course, it's quite crowded. As you go around, you see different information about the Book of Kells experience. So the first section over here is about what is the Book of Kells. So it talks about how it's an illustrated manuscript of the Gospels. And throughout this exhibit, there is a whole bunch of information about some of the different areas. So this is one of the pages, and I'll be able to walk through quite a few of the pages. And over here is a chronology, or kind of like a table of contents of what is in the Book of Kells. So that was helpful. And just you can see on the walls this beautiful artwork that shows. So it's really nice to be able to see that. So basically this first hallway is just a whole bunch of interesting information about the Book of Kells and reproductions of certain pages. Because what you'll find out after is that you cannot take actual footage of the Book of Kells close up. So instead you can just learn about monastic life, which is what this section talks about, see the large reproductions, and each of the books is in different sections. So this is called the Book of Mulling, and these are pocket gospels, which were pretty cool. They're not small compared to current size, but they were cool. And so each of these pages is actually showing you what you would see in the actual book. But every day the book is turned to something else. So the book was made by 4 scribes, and 3 of people were thought to have been the artist to do the majority of the design. So that's some of the information that describes the different scribal techniques as outlined in these different information exhibits. So I just keep walking through, and here's more information about some of the different books. This one is called the Book of Duro, and it was written around 700 AD. It contains a Latin copy of the Gospels along with the preliminary texts. So you can just see the vibrant decoration and color, and some of the different excerpts from that particular book. The next book is the Book of Armagh, and it contains a complete New Testament in Latin. And here it talks about one of the very celebrated pieces, and showing this image here. So it was just really interesting to see that up close. And it describes on this panel all the different meanings of some of those different sections there. So the portrait of John in the opening of his gospel is the next big image that it shows. So that's a very well-known image representation from the Book of Kells. So just a very interesting picture of John there. And yeah, it's just really impressive to see the design. I mean, this was all done by hand by these scribes, so it's pretty incredible. This is about the writing and binding materials. They were using quill pens to make all of these designs, and the original binding is not there anymore, but it does show in this demonstration how binding would have been created for this type of book. It also talks about the different materials, including the ink that was used in the Book of Kells. And the next section, it's more about how did they get the coloring, so the different pigments that were used. And the Trinity College has a lot of research about the different pigments, so understanding what was used to make the blue color, understanding what was used to make the green colors. So just really detailed analysis that's being done and has been done since The Trinity College has had the Book of Kells for hundreds of years. This is some information about the alphabet in the Book of Kells and just the really beautiful lettering that's done in so much detail. And then also some of the decorated words in the Book of Kells that are showing there. And here's another just massive page blown up for you to see. The materials and methods talks about the vellum paper that is used, and that's the kind of main product, and it obviously it's still intact, although the outer cover I learned was no longer, it was stolen, and so it was removed, but the inner part of the entire book is intact. And vellum is considered a valuable resource. It talks about it's around 185 calves that were used. And then this section just talks about the different artistic influences and shows some of the different pieces that are used throughout the book and different examples of some of the artistic expressions. This is all about the animals, the peacocks and eagles, and other animals that are represented in the Book of Kells, because there was a lot about animals, the crow and others. And I thought that was particularly interesting. Oh, the cross, not the crow. Obviously the cross is very important. This is another just giant page here. It's pretty cool when you're standing right in front of these huge screens. And it just talks about the importance of the Book of Kells. And here is where you actually walk into the treasury, but you can't record up close, so you only get a glimpse of that little glass cabinet. And then the second part of the exhibit is in a completely different building. So this just talks about how the Book of Kells is really the masterpiece of what's in the special library section. And then this is just sort of a demonstration of the Book of Kells, some of the imagery just coming off the page, making it more alive and interactive for you to see. So you kind of walk through this little section and you can see the artistry of the Book of Kells surrounding you as you walk. So it's pretty neat, very colorful, and it definitely is different from, just normal paging through a book. This experience really tries to take these images off the pages and help you to learn more about it, both in this section and in the upcoming section, which is actually a film about the Book of Kells and the story of the Book of Kells. So I'm just going to show a few sections of it to share a little bit more about the story and how it got to where it got to today. So that's coming up next in this little film called The Book of Kells 360.
No one knows exactly how old it really is. The scholars believe it is from around 800 AD and began life on the lonely Isle of Iona in the Scottish Hebridean Islands, in the monastery that the Irish monk St. Columba founded there. Here, beside the sea, he established his community of monks, a school for missionaries, and a scriptorium in which the Word of God was written on vellum. The book contains the 4 Gospels from the Christian New Testament in Latin. Masterfully illustrated, its making was itself an act of devotion to God. The book is vibrantly colorful. Elaborate Celtic spirals combine with images drawn from Christian beliefs. Texts in a similar style were produced in monasteries influenced by the Irish Church across Europe. But the Book of Kells is seen as the finest example of them all. The text was written using natural inks and pigments, and it is believed that just a few scribes were involved in writing all the words that the Book of Kells contains. And fled across the stormy seas to Ireland, carrying the book with them. A single wave could easily have swept them and the precious book away. But they were fortunate. They came to Ireland's east coast, where they were greeted by gentle green countryside, a place of farming communities. Still in search of safety, they travelled 30 miles inland to a new Columban monastery at Kells in County Meath. The book became part of religious life in Kells, and it was revered as a great relic. It's even possible that work on the book continued there. But it proved no safer. The book was stolen, thought lost forever, and then found months later buried underground. Its casing, which is believed to have been ornamented with gold and jewels, was never seen again. But thankfully, the rest of the book survived. Returned to the church at Kells, the book remained there until civil unrest meant that it was safe there no longer. In 1661, the Bishop of Meath gifted it to Trinity College, Dublin, where it remains to this day.
Thanks for watching. May you see the world and love it.